It's class time! Good morning, or afternoon, or 11:30 at night, whenever it is that you're finally doing your school stuff. It's that time, and let's get it. I hope quarantine's going great for you guys. I hope you're not eating all of your food and not wasting all your time, but finding something productive to do to learn and expand your brain so you come out on the other side of this better than you went into it. This is serious stuff. You can tell that I'm taking it serious because I'm wearing a jacket today. So let's get after it. We're going to do a little bit of these here video notes, see how it goes. Hopefully it goes great. It might not. Let's see. We're going to talk about Germany today and how Germany really became Germany. Uh, we've talked about the Industrial Revolution and how that shaped a lot of countries. If you recall, we talked about how the Industrial Revolution started in England, and England spent their time making steel and textiles, and that's cool. France got the technology and they made hats, and that's neat. But Germany got the technology, and what they do is way cooler because they're going to make guns and eventually tanks and other neat weapons. And the way that that's going to change their society compared to other countries is going to be very, very interesting. So let's go ahead and get after it. We're going to talk about modern Germany. So we have all these small Germanic states that existed before the 19th century, right? All these little tiny independent countries, a lot of which weren't terribly powerful or in the world stage not very important. The exception to that is Austria-Hungary and Prussia. We've talked about Prussia a little bit before. They made some pretty good moves, like marrying off people like Catherine the Great, to stay relevant. Austria-Hungary has built up a pretty notable military. These two Germanic states are the most powerful. Okay? That said, this is a state system. There's no one central government. And what's going to happen over time is that Germany is going to move to one unified country. Okay? Uh, France has launched into their great rebuilding period after the French Revolution, championed by this person of normal height, Napoleon Bonaparte. He launches into several wars, most of which go pretty okay until he overextends himself, and he has the ingenious idea of going into Russia during winter, which works out for no one, except for one group of people. The Mongols. Everyone else has failed a land war in Russia. Napoleon is no exception. He tries it multiple times, and every time it goes terribly. Okay. Eventually, his reign is brought to an end. He is sent to exile. He later has a very awkward funeral service. I think we've already talked about that. But in the time after Napoleon, we have this Congress of Vienna, which is when these European countries get together and decide what to do with France and what to do with all the territories that have been conquered by Napoleon that are being reclaimed by the people that live there. Okay, so this Congress of Vienna, their goal is to decide what's Europe going to look like after the age of Napoleon. So Congress of Vienna is this gathering, happens from 1814, 1815. They made a coin. Doesn't matter. Really, the goals here decide what's Germany, what's Europe going to look like. They need to reduce the territory that France has taken, because if you don't win the war, you have to give back the stuff that you have in the middle. So they're going to reduce the French territory, and then they're going to restore as many of these former monarchs to power as they can. That might seem weird because these are the people that just lost a war against Napoleon. But the people that were rich and powerful before the war are still rich and powerful after the war. So when it comes to deciding, hey, who's going to be in charge of Austria-Hungary now that the Napoleonic Wars are over, it's going to be those same people. Okay. Now we should take a moment here and think, well, what's going to happen when we have countries led by the same people that just lost the power over their country to Napoleon? Are they going to be good leaders? Probably not. Okay. So the goal is to put those same old rich white people in power, to punish the French, and then in doing so they come up with their own official motto, which says that there is always an alternative to conflict. All right, and if they work to find those alternatives, there'll never be a massive war like the Napoleonic ones ever again. You know, no major worldwide wars. So Congress establishes several things. It rebalances power, gives power back to these Germanic states. It is going to have an authority to legitimize governments, right? So this is a body that's going to say, this is a country, this is who rules it, this is who's in charge. It's just a overarching political group. And then they're going to demand compensation from France. Okay, France launched these wars. They lost this war. They now have to pay reparations. Okay, and the reparations are pretty intense. Okay, first off, they're going to be occupied for somewhere between 3 to 5 years. Okay, depending on how France conducts itself. An occupation is going to be territory that still belongs to France, but they're going to put Germanic troops in that territory. Right, kind of serve as a buffer between France and Germany. So if France ever gets squirrely again and wants to invade, they don't have the option. Additionally, because they lost, they have to pay for a lot of damages, and they're going to have to pay 7 million francs, which is about the equivalent of $130 million, which is a good chunk of change, all right, especially for a country that just lost a war. That's going to hurt a bit. And then they're going to lose their status as an empire, right? They controlled a lot of different territories. They've lost that. So France in the world stage is nowhere near as respected as they were. And that doesn't change, right? France is still kind of whack. Here you go. So this is Europe in 1812. Okay? And then if we look post-Napoleonic Wars, we see some changes. Okay, I'm going to go back and forth a couple times here. A couple things I want to illustrate for you. First off, France had a lot more territory, right? They're going to lose that, right? A lot of reductions, especially here, right, around the Swiss, which is a lot of valuable land. Oh, wrong way. Right down here. Additionally, let's go ahead and note what happens over here at the Grand Duchy of Warsaw, okay, also known as Poland. It goes from being an independent state to being part of Russia. That's what happens when you don't show up to the party. You don't get to negotiate what happens to you. So while all these German states are fighting to be reestablished as Germanic states, Poland just kind of assumed they were going to get to be a country again. Surprise, they don't. This is one of the many times throughout world history that Poland just gets to stop being a country for a while. Okay, so loss of Poland, loss of land for France. And we'll notice that coming from this, we have several large Germanic states, right? Austrian Empire is very large. Prussia becomes very large as well. And these are going to be our two major players, Prussia and the Austrian Empire. So we're going to focus on Prussia because, spoiler, they're going to be the winners. Prussia has two notable leaders here, okay? King Wilhelm I and Otto von Bismarck. King Wilhelm I is known for his incredible mutton chops. Look at this dude. I wish. Oh, maybe by the time we're done with this quarantine, maybe. He looks great. Apart from that, he is a pretty solid leader, right? He got this because his dad was ruler of Prussia, and his dad was the ruler of Prussia, and his dad was ruler of Prussia by a little process that we know as primogeniture. Okay, so he comes to power, a lot of expectations, and he fancied himself as a military leader, and he was a pretty solid one because he knew when to shut up. Okay, he allowed for other people to lead the military under him and to receive a lot of that glory. Okay, Prussia's got a lot of things going for them. Right, they have a decent leader that knows how to delegate, take notes. We also have a massive population in Prussia. Right, it's a large workforce, and large workforces mean lots of work, lots of jobs, and lots of production. Okay, they have a strong military tradition, and now because of the Industrial Revolution, there's a bunch of really super patriotic people that love the military, that have the ability to make lots of things. They're going to make things for the military. Okay? So they industrialize and they build weapons. And this is a very, very patriotic country. They actually going to step past patriotism and reach into the world of nationalism. Nationalism is when you take your patriotism to an extreme. Okay, like patriotism, you love America, right? You have a shirt that has an American flag on it, right? You cheer for the United States in the Olympics. Okay, that's patriotism. Nationalism is when you do all those things, but way harder. Okay, you can be a patriot and say, you know what? we probably don't have the best schools in the world, right? Statistically, like 34th, 36th on the list. Okay. Our healthcare is pretty good, but not the best. But nationalism, we are the best at everything. Okay. Anyone else is doing anything different, they're wrong. We're the best. Prussia is a nationalistic state, right? And we're going to see one of the things that happens with nationalistic states is they often find themselves proving to the rest of the world, or wanting to prove to the rest of the world, that they are the strongest and the greatest. Okay? So, Prussia is a powerful country, it's nationalistic, and it's led by King Wilhelm. Wilhelm's important, but not nearly as important as Otto von Bismarck turns out to be. Otto von Bismarck, this guy right here, leads the Prussian military. I want to take a moment right now and just pause to point out that this dude looks just like Andy Reid. A few of you right now going, yeah, he does. Some of you, no idea. Trust me, this dude looks exactly like Andy Reid, head coach of the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Feels really good to say. Bismarck is, he's a realist. Okay, he is a military leader of great effect. He's a great tactician, but he thinks of everything as a battle, not just war. Right? Politics is a battle to him. Okay, he believes in grounding himself in what's called politics of reality. Right, this Darwinist approach of survival of the fittest. Okay? Like that people that lose in interactions with other people are destined for that to happen to them because they were inferior in some way. If that's the kind of person that's leading the country, you should expect for them to make some kind of power moves. Okay? He's got a lot of great quotes. Less people know about how sausages and laws are made, the better they'll sleep at night. Right? You don't have to know how things are getting done. They're just getting done. Okay? Never believe in anything until it's officially denied. Right? People are going to lie to you. A person that says this believes people are going to lie to you. This is a person that know that people are naturally selfish, wicked, brutish, and short. I like this guy. Okay. And then probably his most famous quote: "The great questions of the day will not be settled by speeches and majority decisions, but by blood and iron." This is a guy who's not going to talk about his feelings. He's going to make changes by blood and iron. So Bismarck's going to use a combination of intimidation and military force to unify Prussia with other countries. Okay, he's going to manipulate foreign leaders into doing the things that he wants them to do. If they're not going to do it, he's going to use military strength. Okay, so he'll give you the option to join with Prussia, and if you don't, you're going to join Prussia. Okay, and he has the ability to do so because they're an industrialized nationalist country that can conquer weaker states. The first major war in the process of Prussia going from being one independent Germanic state into one greater Germany is the Danish War. Right? The Danish War is a war between the Danes and the Prussians. And Prussia is militarized, right? They are industrialized, and they're going to use their military advantage to crush the Danish. Right? This is a very one-sided battle. Prussia wins this very, very quickly. It's seen as a huge victory for the Prussians, right? Who already love their country and love their military, and now they're winning. They're going to continue to support Otto von Bismarck so that he can continue to try to unify Germany. Okay. After we have the Danish War, we have another pretty short battle between the Austro-Hungarians and the Prussians, right? Known as the Austro-Prussian War. These are well-named wars. It tells you exactly what it's about. Danish War, War of the Danes. Auto-Prussian War, Austro-Hungarians, Prussians. Boom, it's right there. Okay. It's also known as the 7 Weeks War. This is a well-fought war. Okay. I'm going to actually step back a couple here to go to that map so I can show you. So the Austro-Hungarians are fighting against the Prussians, right? If you're the Austro-Hungarians, think, I'm going to be attacked by the Prussians. Where the fight's going to happen? Probably along your shared border. Okay? Prussia outsmarts them. They're going to move a great number of troops to this shared border, right? Right down here, right? Kind of close to Poland. Right? Austria-Hungary prepares for that fighting. Okay? Prussia is then going to send a second wave of well-hidden troops to further to the west, okay? And then they're going to invade from the south and try to attack over in the western border of Austria-Hungary. Okay? With a lot of the battle happening here, Austria-Hungary tries to move their troops. It's too late. They